All right, here we go.
All right, we've got the Mentis wave. Entitlements are not rights. Oh boy, I can.
This is a Leaflit video that just came out called "You Don't Deserve Your Rights." Interesting.
Oh, you tell I'm gonna love this one. Oh, here we go. I've been waiting for this my whole life. The recently ended 20th century was characterized by a level of human rights violations unparalleled in all of human history. Oof. Let's see it.
Hey, internets. So the latest thing that people are freaking out about is SNAP food benefits running out as a result of the continued government shutdown. For those few of you out there not familiar, that is just the food welfare program in the United States, which enrolls people into the EBT program, basically allowing them to...
It was Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, right? SNAP? Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. I think that's what it means.
Get some free stuff as long as they meet certain criteria. Most of the time the criteria is simply being poor, but there are some loopholes around that.
Incredible commentary.
But anyway, the problem here is that people are once again showing that a large portion of the population does not understand the difference between an entitlement and a right, with the common misconception being that food is a human right. And while
I love this. I love this because it's so true. That people don't even know the difference between these things.
A very simplistic level, that might sound reasonable, because hey, everybody needs to eat, right? There's a lot of really serious issues that come up when you call it a right. Because food benefits are not a right. Food benefits are an entitlement. What is the difference and why does it matter? Well, that's one of the things I'm going to go over in this video, but I'm also going to be refuting a common socialist false dichotomy using Voosh as an example. Yeah, I know, it's been a while since I refuted Voosh, but he gives a really good example of this particular bad argument. Another is explaining the problem with entitlements and how they pervert the concept of charity and caring.
Guys, I know we just started the video, but I just want to link this to you like right now. I really like Mentis Wave's videos a lot. I just like the logic and the philosophy that Mentis talks about on each issue, and I really do appreciate them. So, if you guys wanna, if you're into that kind of stuff, you're into ideas. I think Mentis is a really good one to watch. Highly recommend.
Yeah. We have reacted to this guy before. He's a dumbass. Look at this fucking doll jack Marx meme he put up here. Marx Jack. Like, it's just so fucking stupid. Like, dude, Karl Marx was an atheist. Why you got him talking about Jesus? Marx never said this. He never said anything like this. Marx was an atheist, anti-Semite. He was an anti-Semitic atheist. Okay, like he abhorred Jewish people, I think, in my opinion. Okay, if you don't believe me, you can read his work. But anyway, it's just he didn't really like religion in general, is my point. Yeah, like it wasn't just the Jews that he disliked. He didn't like religion, okay? Because in the society that he was from, religion was highly problematic, as it sometimes is in various societies. But in Prussia at the time, religion was like, he saw it as a disease. He saw it as a problem. Okay, and that was a limitation of his environment. But it's like
actually quite hateful.
It also has nothing to do with fucking SNAP benefits. I don't know what the fuck this has to do with food.
And also how there's a lot of data that shows that the current status social welfare system is at the very least in need of some serious reform due to some very serious, arguably intentional flaws. But first off, this is going to be another self-sponsored video. I do happen to have a merch store. It's got some pretty good... I do happen to have a merch store. It's got some...
It's great.
Pretty good quality stuff. And profits really do issues that makes...
Actually, I'm not joking.
Right, and what is an entitlement.
Yeah, don't buy this shit.
Might have been stopmotion.ai. I'm pretty sure it's AI. I'm like...
Started with just that. What is the difference between a right and an entitlement? Well, rights come from the concept of natural laws, which are based on asking the question, who is the rightful owner of certain scarce resources? These are effectively laws that every sentient being understands is needed for society to peacefully function, since
Yeah.
reality has scarce resources. For example, the fact that two people cannot occupy the same space at the same time, or cannot use the same resource at the same time. Thus, for peace to exist, these conflicts must be easily resolvable and preferably
Yes.
avoided.
Yeah, so basically what he's talking about here is this is sort of like materialism. I mean that's kind of what he's just describing, basic materialism. Like basically, okay, stay with me here. Things exist, right? And they're when I say things, I mean like tangible materials that you can touch. Okay, things exist, and the whole point to society, he's not saying this here, but I would say that the whole point to society is to organize who gets what materials. Okay, now under capitalism, you pursue profits, right? Everybody wants to profit. They want to own a business and profiteer from said business, okay? And that is the model for which we organize who gets what materials, okay? The more money you got, the more you can buy. The more assets you have, the more you can borrow. Yada yada. Anyway, obviously, food is a technically a finite resource, like pretty much anything else. You know, nothing is infinite. Okay, everything is a finite resource. Everything is a fucking finite resource. And so the argument here is, well, we can't have like free food for people because there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. But that is completely just glossing over the literally the core of the argument, the materialist argument that he's making here. Okay, because yes, food isn't free. Okay, you can't just like apparate food from thin air. Yeah, we all know this. Okay, but the question is, who gets the food? Okay, who is getting the food? And in our current system, we say, who gets food? People with jobs. Okay, how do you get a job? Well, it's kind of difficult right now, and like the job market sucks. But like, you gotta have a job to get your food. Okay, unless of course you qualify for SNAP benefits. Okay, which luckily a majority of people do. But it becomes a real problem when you suddenly cut off SNAP benefits and then people can't buy food. So anyway, all that is to say is I guess what he's going to say here is like poor people need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps or whatever. They just need to like get a job and then buy their food. My argument is that we should, like, if society is about organizing who gets what, we should give food to the poor. That is what we should do. We should give poor people food. We should give food to people who don't have it, who don't have food. That's what we should do. Institutionally, like that. Like what I'm saying is, the government should facilitate this. Okay, it's not enough to have churches doing soup kitchens and food drives. It's not enough, because there's still hunger. There's still starvation in this country, in America, in the richest, supposedly most developed nation on the planet. There are people starving. There are people who don't know where their next meal is going to come from. How is that acceptable to you? How can you look at that and just say, oh, well, nothing we can do about that?
natural law fixes this by
Okay.
dictating that the one who first transforms something with, say, their own labor by their own will is thus the rightful owner. Whereas entitlements, on the other hand, are more like privileges. Privileges are something that requires external labor for
Yep.
somebody else to provide. So
It's
another
kind
way
of the difference between like a positive right and a negative right. That basically, I don't believe in any rights that force other people to do things for you. I believe in rights that basically make it so other people can't interfere with you. Those are kind of like the difference, basically.
to understand it is kind of
We force people to do things under capitalism. We force them, like literally. Like the way she's talking about forcing. Okay, you're forcing someone. It's all coercion. There is no like forcing in this snap process. Okay, you have farmers, you have you have like farm owners, and then you have people who work on the farm. These are the people who facilitate food production, and they are compensated for their work. They are paid a wage, or they profit from their property. This is how it works. This is what happens. Okay, so no, it's not like you're just taken from them, and they're not getting anything back. That's socialism, baby. Like no, no, dude, that's not how it fucking works. The fuck are you talking about? You're living in a fantasy land. This shit is just like so fucking stupid, dog. Oh my god. Oh. Anyway, what's ironic about this, or I should say, like, maybe not ironic, but like what's comedic about what she's saying, what makes it so laughably dumb, is that literally in our system, in our capitalism system, we have slavery. We enslave people, and we force them to do work on behalf of the state and private corporations and private markets. God damn it, I think I just skipped that. So, like this literally happens, okay? You literally benefit from the enslavement of other people, okay? Like forcing them to do work. And they do it on behalf of the state. They do it on behalf of private corporations, okay? I lived in Florida for a short amount of time, and I lived not in but near a county called Orange County. There's Orange County in Florida, and I lived like basically right next to it, but I was in a different county. Anyway, they posted on their Facebook like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know. You can go back and look and see if it's still there, about how they saved $1 million because of prison labor. That's right. They were like, yeah, the county saved $1 million this year off of prison labor, and people don't understand that is literally enslavement. Like that's what they're saying. They're saying like, hey, we saved all this money from all the slavery we were doing this year. Great. That's so awesome, dude. So, anyway, in our capitalist system, we force people to do work for the government, to uphold institutions and services for the constituents. Okay, we literally do this. We have prisoners that clean up roads, right? They do other things too. They make fucking license plates, and they do work for private companies as well. So like these are things that people really take for granted. I think not in like a fiscal sense. Maybe in like a fiscal sense, but more like in like a perceptive kind of way. Like people don't like we have these processes of enslavement, of using criminals to do labor, and and people just kind of accept that. Like it's just seen as like many things under capitalism, it's just the way it is. It's just the way things work. Right.
The
Anyway, let's keep
positive
going.
and negative liberty thing.
There you go.
Rights
There you
are
go.
freedom from
That's what I
things,
was
whereas
gonna say.
privileges and entitlements are freedoms to have things.
Yes.
For example, a right would be the right to live peacefully in your home, free from some psychopath coming over to murder you, or freedom from someone coming and stealing your stuff. Those are examples of natural rights. And so when you say that food is a human right, you kind of create a slight problem here, because that's not really a freedom from something, but rather it is claiming entitlement to something. So imagine a world where we say,
So you have created a definition in your head, and now you are like pushing that onto everyone else. Why is your definition of a right what a right is? And anyway, even if I were to go along with what you're saying, just because like something isn't a categorically a human right, does that mean that the government should not do it if they can? Like, what I'm saying is, if the government can feed everyone, which it can, should it not do it because just because food isn't a right? Like, that's what you think? Like, dude, this makes no fucking sense. I don't care if you call it a right or an entitlement. If the government can feed everyone, then it should do it, because everybody needs food. Everybody needs food to stay alive, okay? And if you're dead, you can't work, you can't raise your kids, you can't have kids, you can't do any of that shit. You can't participate in the economy. So, yeah, the government should feed everyone. It should do that if it can, and it can. So why is it not doing that? Oh, because then a particular group of people wouldn't be able to profit as much and buy their 7th fucking yacht.
Say that
Dumb
food
fuck.
is a human right, and person A grows a potato, but then person B wants the potato, but person A doesn't want to give the potato they grew to them. Under natural law,
Yeah.
the resolution of this conflict
Yeah,
is
so like a good example. Like,
Under natural law, one of them would kill the other and take the potato. Yeah, what a genius thought experiment, man. What a great thought experiment that is. Wow, you've really convinced me. You've really convinced me because of the potato murder scenario. I'm coming over to your
using
side.
this would be like, say like winter is coming and like winter has arrived, and to feed your family you farmed a bushel of potatoes, so you have like this bushel of potatoes that like you're gonna eat over the winter, right? But then you know, person B is like, well, I didn't prepare for winter, but I need to live, so those are my potatoes. I need those potatoes, right? And you're like, well, no, I need to feed my family these potatoes, right? Like, do they have a right to like then take?
Yeah, but we do not live in an agricultural society where, I mean, agriculture is a big industry in the United States. Okay, that's not what I'm saying, but like, we do not live in a society where everybody needs to grow their own garden and grow their own food. It's not the fucking 19th century. Okay, it's like people be living in the city. People be working in the city. They be doing that. People be working in rural areas and they don't grow their own food. Okay, they don't do that. So, you know, what does the system that we have right now demand? Well, it demands that you make money and then you go to the grocery store and you buy your food. Okay, the argument that socialists are making is that the government has the ability to provide food to everyone, and it does. Okay, and so then the question is, should it do that? Should the government do that? And the socialist says, yes. And any sane person should say, yes, it should do that. It, like, there's no drawback other than many or like multiple rich people, a few rich people don't profit as much quarterly. Okay, like the government provides SNAP benefits. That's great. Okay, I love that. I love that they give us something. Okay, they give poor people the means to buy food and still be able to afford their bills, kind of, probably. Not really. that's like a whole other discussion. Okay, the cost of living outside of food is a long conversation in and of itself. But we do have SNAP benefits. I think that's great. We could do more, though. The government could provide more to people, and it should, because we don't live in the 1800s where everybody needs to like either farm or um, I don't know, work like a what we would call now like a white collar kind of job, and they like buy their food at the market. Anyway, let's just keep going.
Take it from you.
Pretty obvious. The first guy grew the potato, he gets to decide what happens with it.
Yeah.
If he wants to give it to the second guy because
Violence is the answer, says Not the Abyss. Well, all rights are only exist due to the capabilities of violence, basically. Rights don't in of it rights in of themselves are meaningless, basically. They only exist through force.
the second guy is starving, sure, then he should be able to do that. But if he doesn't want to give his potato away, for example, say he needs it to eat for himself, well, then that's also fine, because it's his potato. And yet when you try to say this is an entitlement, that food should be a human right, you're necessarily creating a conflict here. You're saying that person B...
Dude, food, we can grow so much fucking food. It literally just comes out of the ground. Okay, again, I'm not saying that it is a literally infinite resource. It is finite. But you can grow more food, okay? Like, we can grow more food than we're already growing. We can. That is an indisputable fact. But you don't even need to do that because we already grow enough food to feed everyone in the country, anyway. Okay, well then, like, why are people starving? Why, you just said that, like, people be starving, right? And yeah, it's because they don't get the food, okay? You may have heard this before, but Americans throw away most of their food. We throw away most of it. It never makes it onto anyone's dinner table. And why is this? Well, guess who throws out most food? It's grocery stores, okay? It's capitalist. They throw it away. Why is that? Why can't they just give it away for free? Yeah, obviously the answer to that is grocery stores can't give away their excess food for free because it would destroy their business model. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to profiteer. Okay? But the argument that socialists make is that ideally, okay, companies should not be allowed to profiteer off of essential essential materials for living, okay, like housing and food and water, and even utilities at this point, and internet. Okay, like I understand that, like, saying that like internet should be a human right is it sounds like first world bullshit. Okay, privilege woke snowflake bullshit, but think about how important, how integral having internet access is to navigating this society. Okay, you have to have internet to get a job, to open a bank account. You need internet. You need a fucking phone. You need a phone number to get calls. You need internet for email. Okay, you need an email. Like, these are things that you need to work and live in this society, but we don't provide it to people for free. We don't do it. You got to pay for it yourself. And it's like, okay, if you want a job, you need a cell phone, you need internet. You can't get those things without without getting money. You can't get money without a job. It's stupid. It's a stupid fucking system. Why? Why are we doing this? What the fuck?
Should be entitled to the potato just as much as person A, even though they didn't do anything to grow the
Back to the
potato.
potato
Which
business.
effectively means that you're giving green light to the idea of theft. And so this tells us a simple way to tell the difference between an
No. No. It's not theft. It is not theft. Just because there is a mechanism of force, right, against a farmer. Okay, in this example, we're talking about, food and farming. Just because you, as the state, tell that farmer, you have to distribute the food the way we see fit, that's not theft. Okay, as long as the farmer is compensated. And guess what? We have a method of compensating people in our society with dollars. Okay, imagine this. Everybody in the country pays into programs. Okay, they give money to the government. This is called taxation. Okay, conservatives say taxation is theft because of the mechanism of enforcement. Okay, if you don't pay your taxes, you go to jail. Okay, this is what conservatives say. And to them, this means taxes are bad and we should do less taxes. I think that is fucking brain dead. Okay, because without taxes, we would have no government programs. And without government programs, guess what? We would have no GPS. We would have never gone to the moon. We would have no public schools. We would have no roads. No railways. We would have nothing. Okay, not that infrastructure in this country is really all that much to write home about. The little bit that we do have was accomplished with taxation. And through American taxes, we have created programs that are useful not just for us, but for people around the world. Okay, when we made GPS technology, that benefited everyone. Good job, America. We should be doing more shit like that. But to do that, we need taxes. And anyway, all that is to say is SNAP benefits are not theft. Okay? And if you acknowledge that, then it just this argument, this Mentis wave argument, completely dissolves. Okay? Now, some will say, oh, but SNAP is theft. It's theft because you're giving people free food, whatever. Okay? So that's theft. But that's fucking stupid. It's not theft. We pay tax. The people who receive SNAP benefits, they pay taxes. They pay fucking taxes, most of them. Okay? I mean, everybody pays taxes, even if you don't have a job. Even if you don't have a job, most people are still buying stuff. They're still, getting money and either from their parents or their spouse or maybe they have unemployment benefits, which they've also paid into. Because to get unemployment, you have to have a job beforehand. Okay, so people are paying into these taxes and then they're receiving SNAP benefits. How does SNAP work? SNAP is a pool of money. They give you money, they give you a card, you can spend the card on groceries. That's how it works. Okay. How is any of that theft? How is any of that theft? It's so fucking stupid to reduce it to theft and oh yeah, that's just what it is. It's just theft. It's just theft, buddy. That's it. What? Well, okay, it's good theft then. It's good. Just shut the fuck up. I want you to have free healthcare. I want you to have food. I'm evil for that? I'm an evil terrorist for that? Okay. All right, man. All
entitlement
right,
is
gotcha.
a right, which
Gotcha.
is that entitlements necessarily create conflict and contradiction with other people's rights.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because when
Okay.
you say food is a human right, then that means that the person who grew the food somehow doesn't have a right to the food that they grew, but the person who wants it does.
Okay, if a person is growing food, what are they going to do with it? They can do two things with it. They can eat it all themselves, or they can sell it to others. They can give it to others. Okay, they sell it. Okay, farmers don't give away food for free. I mean, I don't hear about that happening ever. I could be wrong. But like, farmers aren't out here giving away food for free. Not for SNAP, not for anything, not for dick. Okay, they don't give away food for free. Of course they don't. You know, they put in the labor, they put in the work to grow the food. They expect, understandably, to be compensated. And the government, in an effort to feed their population, they never took the food, like stole it, and then distributed it. Okay? Now, honestly, I wouldn't have much of a problem with that. Okay? If as long as it is sustainable. Okay, as long as it is, because obviously, you know, when it comes to sustainability, if you are like literally just straight up stealing from farmers, then, you know, how long are they going to keep farming? Probably not very long. But like, if it were somehow sustainable, I'd be all for it. Okay, whatever. Whatever. It's fucking food. Everybody needs it. I just like, I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck to say to these motherfuckers anymore. Oh, it's like, food is, free food is bad. We should not give people free food ever. They should starve. If they don't work, they should starve.
Does.
Gotcha.
But what about the rights of the other guy? It doesn't really make much sense. So when people say
Yeah.
food should be a human right, what they're really saying is something more along the lines of farmers should be enslaved and forced at gunpoint to provide free food. Or
Yep.
the grocery store clerk, or quote-unquote
That
society
actually
at
is
large.
true. It basically
or
is slavery,
in the
yeah.
Western world, how it usually currently operates is that it's on the pack.
No. Have you ever gone to the grocery store and you wonder why there's so many chips? Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone to the grocery store and wonder why there's so many crackers? So many chips and crackers. That not like in a racial way, but like literal, you know, crackers. The reason why there's so many chips, so many crackers, is because they're cheap to make. Okay. Why are they cheap to make? Is it just because grain is so inexpensive to grow? Well, sort of. Grain is it grows in a lot of places. It doesn't need a lot to keep it going. It's my understanding. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. Okay. But that ain't the only reason. It's because of subsidies. That's right. Our government pays farmers to grow grain. Okay, why do they do this? Well, it's because of a little thing that happened called the Great Depression. Okay, so the government started paying farmers to grow more grain. And they paid them to grow more grain than they could sell. Okay, so farmers were like, okay, well, everybody's poor, so I can't grow very much grain, right? Because nobody's going to buy it. So you don't grow that much, and then there's not enough for everyone, and it's the fucking Great Depression, okay? It sucks, okay? So the government said, hey, grow more, we will pay you for all of the extra. Okay, we will give you more money for just growing extra that you can't sell. Okay, and then they did that, And then at the same time, you had new government programs popping up to help people pay for things, to help them pay for food. And then they did that. Okay, and anyway, those subsidies still exist today. Farmers still get money for growing lots of grain. And that is why they grow a lot of grain. And that is why we have so many chips in the store. Now, what is my point in all of this? My point is that there's no stealing in that process. Okay? So, like, your chips and your crackers are cheap because the government stepped in and they said, we're going to pay you farmers to grow more grain. And so the question is that theft? I don't think so. That doesn't sound like theft to me, man. And yet, it makes your groceries cheaper. So it must be the government stealing, right? No, my point is that you don't have to literally steal from farmers, and it's kind of fucking disgusting to imply that you do, to make food more affordable. You don't need to steal from farmers to give people free food, to give people free access to food. You don't need to do that. We live in the current year. And in the current year, we grow enough food to feed everyone. And yet, grocery stores throw out trash bags of food, of fresh food, every day. Every day and every night. It's ridiculous, man. What the fuck are we talking about? We're paywalling this shit, and people are starving. They're starving because we're paywalling it.
Taxpayers dying.
And you're defending it. Why?
Yep.
And now the usual retort to this is that
because the thing is if you think about
no,
taxes,
let's hear the
taxes
usual
are
retort.
enforced through force.
Yes.
Because
yes,
if you don't pay your taxes, even if you don't agree with the thing, right? So say they're like, well, we need your tax money to go like pay for food for like these people, right? And so you're like,
yeah.
well,
So I can relate to that. Okay, I can, because I don't like everything no American likes everything that our government is doing, that we are funding. Okay, for me specifically, I don't like the wars and the military, right? The military expansion, the wars overseas. I don't like that, but our taxes pay for it. But I'm not anti-taxation because of it. I don't want less taxes because of that. Just because I don't like what our taxes are going towards, I want our taxes to go towards things that I like. So if you're going to sit there and be like, oh, taxation is theft, and it's because I don't like the things that the taxes are going towards, fuck you. How about you just shut the fuck up? How about
I don't
that?
want to give my money to be
I don't want to give my money.
They'll come arrest you or they'll come find you.
Good.
Which is, again, it all comes down to force in the end, regardless.
Food is a huge...
Yeah, and so like the argument that they're making is that that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing that like you have to pay your taxes. It's like it's like she was just talking about like enforcement, okay? In order to say murder is illegal, there has to be punishment for it. There has to be violent retaliation. If you murder, you're going to jail. Okay? That is called violence. That is state-sanctioned violence. It's what it is. Is that wrong? Is that wrong? No, it's not. It's not wrong. Murderers should go to jail. They should, unless they murdered justifiably. Okay, as outlined in the law, in our laws for self-defense. Okay, murderers should go to jail. So, if murderers should go to jail, tax criminals should also go to jail. Okay, if you don't pay your taxes, well, you're still living in the society, right? You're still benefiting from the taxes. There has to be an enforcement mechanism. This isn't a problem, okay? It's a feature. It is. People are forced to pay their taxes. Now, I personally think that our taxes should go towards feeding hungry people. That's what I think. Hot take, I know. I think that we should use those taxes instead of bombing brown people overseas. We should use it to feed our hungry people. We should do that. That's what I think we should do with it. I know, it's a crazy idea. It's a
They're
crazy
using
revolutionary
violence to,
idea.
make you give your stuff to people that you don't want to give it to. That's why it's violence.
Everybody needs food. And yeah, that's true, but then you're just confusing rights with needs. If two people need the same thing at the same time, like say both person A and person B are starving, we still need to have rights to decide who gets to have the potato. But perhaps most importantly is the fact that you don't actually need food to be a human right in order to have a social safety net in order to provide food for poor people. Which kind of brings us to the standard false dichotomy whenever those of us crazy free marketeer libertarians point this out, is the accusation that we just want the poor to starve. So here's a clip from Voosh showing this false dichotomy in action.
The
Okay,
Republicans
let's see it.
are advocating.
It's not that you, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in your mind. I think that, me personally, I think that a lot of Republicans, they relish in the idea that they are the arbiters of uncomfortable truth. Okay? Like Republicans, they love to hit this same button over and over again. They love to hit it. Okay, we, like in this case, we don't want people to starve, but like, they just gotta, okay? They just gotta, like, they gotta pull themselves up by their bootstraps, or they gotta starve. No matter how hard it is to do that, you gotta bootstrap. Gotta bootstrap, brother. And it's like, no, man, like, it's not like that. We don't live in, like, the yesterday times, okay? We live in the now. We live in the right now times with the technology and the abundance of finite resources, which we will run out of, okay? I'm talking like fossil fuels and whatnot. But like we have these things at our disposal right now, and we should use them to feed people, okay, and give them other necessities as well. We're talking about food in this case, but like, anyway, all that is to say is, like, I don't think most Republicans love the idea of people starving, okay? I think they actually really don't like that. They don't want people to starve. But they just seem to be stuck in this, like, meritocracy loop where everybody's got to earn they keep. Everybody's got to earn it. And, like, it's not like that, man. Like, we have the food. We just need to distribute it, okay? We need to distribute the food. We have enough of it. We have enough. We throw most of it away. We throw it away. It goes into the fucking landfill. They put it in a trash bag, right? They put it in a plastic liner, which, isn't gonna dissolve into the earth for like 50,000 fucking years. And the food is just going to rot in the trash bag for that entire time. In the fucking landfill. Like, why are we doing this? Why? Like, at least it would kind of make sense if we were composting all of it, okay? If we were, like, taking the food that we don't eat, and all of it, I mean, like, or most of it, at least, was, like, becoming fertilizer, going back into the earth. But, like, we wrap it in trash bags, which are going to last for centuries, and that's it. And then we just, like, throw it in a fucking landfill. Like, what are we doing, dog? This is like, this is so, our system is so counterintuitive. It is cruelty for the sake of cruelty. Okay, it is. That's what leftists are saying. We're saying it's cruelty for the sake of cruelty. And Republicans are like, no, you don't get it. It just has to be this way. It just has to be this way. It just has to be this way. It just has to. Okay, man. All right. Very cool.
More or less.
Let's watch Vosh, I guess.
Let the poor starve. And
let's watch a goblin fucker Vosh over
that,
over here. Don't think I forgot about that. Okay, I did not forget about the goblin gate, the goblin controversy. The mind goblin.
You're mean.
Ended on Saturday. They haven't really been treating that like a political nuclear
so funny, dog.
bomb that it really is. But we don't want the poors to have those anyway. I've seen a bunch of Republicans on social media who have been essentially arguing that it's good the SNAP benefits have ended because it's good that people are suffering. If they can't pay for their food, they can't pay for their food, and that's...
So yeah, pretty typical socialist rhetoric there.
Boy.
With this false dichotomy being that you have this false choice between either a socialist welfare entitlement system or the poor starve to death. Then unless you are in favor of socialism, that must mean that you...
Yeah, I mean, look, those are kind of the options, man. Like, I don't know what are we talking about? Like, the reason that is what this is, okay, why it's either socialism or people starving, is because we live in the capitalist system. Okay, we do. We live in capitalism. This is capitalism, okay? Just because we have taxes, just because we have some welfare, doesn't mean we don't live in capitalism, okay? We do. We live in capitalism. Anyway, so we live in capitalism and people be starving. People be starving. We live in capitalism, but people be starving. And then socialism. Socialists are saying, we should, fuck forcing people to work for food. Like, it's creating all these problems of starvation. People are starving because there's an economic downturn and people can't find work and blah, and then it's just like one thing after another, and like food is just one equation in the cost of living. Like, there are several other things like I was talking about earlier. So socialists say we should give people free food. Okay, so just to run that back, okay, we live in capitalism. People are starving. Socialists say, let's do socialism. Let's give people food. And you're saying no. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. And so, okay, so how is that not that then? Like it sounds to me like the socialist wants to feed people, wants to give them the things that they need to survive and participate in society, in the economy. And you are saying, no, some of you may die, but it is a chance I am willing to take.
You just want the people who can't immediately afford food to all just starve. Very typical false choice there. Because, of course, there are ways to make...
How is that a false choice? There's many ways to make... Wait, what are the many ways? Okay, let's talk about it.
Or not have to starve.
Yep.
That are not based on socialism. Because the problem with entitlements or viewing food as a human right...
Okay, so he had a picture of, feudalist peasants there? Yeah, I mean, people were fed under feudalism. Okay? Societies were also structured in a feudalist way, where you had the peasantry class, which worked the land. Okay, they were the farmers. It was for around the world mostly, it was an agriculture-based society. Okay, that's like 99% of the population was participating in this feudalist system, where maybe not that much of the population, but certainly in the Western world and even further east, people were peasants. Okay, they were growing food. there was a class of noblemen above them. Okay, there were also bureaucrats, right? And there was a rudimentary form of taxation, right? The king would collect taxes and would use that to build things for his constituents, ideally, as well as, his palace. But that's how that system worked, okay? That's how people, made their way. That's how they made food. Okay, now we live in a much different, situation. We're in a much different situation. So, yeah, that worked for them. That's great. There were like 5,000 people back then, okay? There were like, not literally, okay? There were like a few 100,000 humans on the entire fucking planet back then. It was a much different scenario. Like I said, we live in the right now, okay? So, like, we can learn things from the feudalist system. We can look at it and observe it and take notes. But, like, what do you want us to go back to feudalism? I don't fucking know. Like, what do you want, man?
In this
I'm
particular
excited.
context
I'm excited to
Charity
learn.
has always existed since the dawn of time, basically.
is that it's an issue.
I just
between
realized-
involuntary
Been
welfare
watching this at
systems
normal
and
speed.
voluntary welfare systems. That's the third choice that's
Yep.
being ignored here. The possibility of a welfare system, but people
Like churches, like you've got churches who do food drives. You have people who, work at
Okay, but churches haven't solved the hunger problem. I love that churches do it. I love it. I love it when they do it. They give out food. It's great. Okay? People are still starving. They are. Like, it's not working. Okay? Churches help. They do. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that churches shouldn't feed people. Okay? It's church. Of course, it's good. Okay? It's a good thing. It's not doing it, though. It's not cutting it. Okay? And it can't. Okay? Of course it can't. If the Good Samaritan could solve hunger, then we would have done this this would have not been a problem decades ago. Okay, like this has been an issue that has gotten worse recently, but it's always been there. It's always been in America. There have always been people who are hungry, who are starving, who are food insecure. In this country, which has been the richest, most developed nation on the planet for a long time. It's so
soup
fucking
kitchens and stuff
dumb,
like
dude.
this, and all of these like volunteer programs in order to like better their community.
voluntarily put money into it. Like, for example, a community mutual aid fund.
Yeah,
There's a grocery
exactly.
store nearby me that actually recently started one up. Things that allow people in the community to voluntarily help each other.
And it's actually better when it's, and this is kind of like the point. This is kind of the point that a lot of people have on the conservative side of things, is that these things are best handled on a local level. Basically, like having the bigger the scope of the thing, like something that is like nationwide, for instance, isn't as good because you have no idea. You have nothing to do with people. You have less to do with somebody who's living 1,000 miles away than you do with people that are living like within your community, right? And not only that, people who are living in like these kind of smaller communities, they understand the needs of those communities a lot more. So it's always better handled at like a more community level, basically.
As opposing forcing somebody else to help. Socialists love to equivocate between these two concepts, the concept of entitlement and charity, in order to try and make them...
Okay. So, I like that stuff. Okay? That's great. Here's the thing, though. We already have a robust system of distributing food. Okay? Stay with me here. They're called grocery stores. Like, the point I am about to make here is that these food drives are relatively inefficient, okay? That doesn't mean they're bad. That doesn't mean I don't like them. They're just more inefficient than SNAP. Because SNAP gives you money that you can use on groceries, and they say, go buy these groceries at the grocery store. Okay, it's convenient. It's like there's already food at the grocery store. That's why it's great. That's why we should fund it more. Okay, we have a good system already in place. It's not perfect, okay? Grocery stores, they have their problems, but my point is we don't need to make something new. We don't need to make up some kind of new system for good Samaritans to distribute food, okay? We don't need that. We have the distribution. We have it. They're called grocery stores. Give people the means to go to the grocery store and put food in their cart and walk out with it without committing any crimes, without stealing anything. Okay? Give them SNAP. It's a good thing. It is good. It's great. We should expand on it. We should give more people SNAP. We should give people more SNAP benefits. Okay, people already on SNAP should get more. That's what I think.
Themselves look like the good guys. Because, you know,
The funny thing is if you look at the data, actually conservatives are far more charitable. That's the funny
everybody
thing.
likes Santa Claus. He comes once a year and gives all the kids.
Conservatives have more disposable income on average, okay? So, like, we're talking about averages here. Okay, what she was saying is conservatives are more generous. I don't know if that is definitely true, definitely a fact. But I'll go along with it. I'll say, like, okay, sure they are. I don't think that is a testament to the personality of conservatives, like she's trying to say. I think libs and leftists are good people. They're good people. They care about others, and they're also generous often. Okay, but conservatives, on average, have more money. They have more wealth to give. Okay, do you understand? Like, and the reason why this is because over the course of your life, you accumulate wealth, you accumulate capital. If you're the average person, okay, you make money, you start a business, yada yada. This is what most people do. They make wealth, they save it. Okay, the more wealth you have, the more wealth you create, the more likely you are to vote Republican, to be a conservative. Why? Because it's in your interest. Or at least, even if it's not, you see it that way. You think it's in your interest because you got the money. Well, I want to hold on to it. I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to blah, 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 blah. So what I'm saying is rich people be voting Republican. Rich people be conservatives. That's the way it is. And it's not true across the board, but we're talking about averages. Okay, so anyway, I probably shouldn't have gone on that spiel because it doesn't really fucking matter. Conservatives are just the wholesome, nice people, and the evil liberals are stingy and greedy. It's like this is the level of argument that we're working with here, man.
There's a bunch of free stuff.
This
Everyone's
is it.
happy and it's joyful, etc., etc. And that's the kind of optics that socialists are going for. They want to be viewed
Santaism.
as the heroes, just bringing the people the things that they need to survive. But that is absolutely not
Yeah.
what socialists are actually advocating for.
Okay.
They're advocating for an entitlement, forced welfare system rather than a charity-based voluntary welfare system. And if you look deep into socialist theory, you'll find out that they actually, at many points, admit
That's because charity has existed for hundreds of years, and it has resulted in where we are now, okay? Which is lots of people starving. And, like, maybe not lots of people, but, like, way too many people starving. And, lots of people, literally lots of people being food insecure in the richest fucking country on the planet. So, yeah, we should... We are the good guys that want to bring the food to everyone. Okay, we are. I'm sorry. What the fuck do you want me to say, man? Like, socialists say, we think that that everybody should get food, and we should accomplish this through taxation, And conservatives say, no, you can't do that. Think about the profits. Think about it. It's stealing. Compensating farmers through taxation is stealing. Yeah, man. Like that is the logic that we're working with, and I don't know how to convince them. I don't know. It's so fucking frustrating, man. I don't know. They talk about it like the government is gonna bust down the farmhouse, okay, and they're gonna pull out the M16s. Like, get on the ground, Farmer Joe. Get on the fucking ground. Give us all your corn. We're gonna kill you. And it's like that's not how it works, man. Like, the government taxes the entire fucking population. And then they have all this money from taxing the entire population. And instead of paying farmers to feed everyone, okay, instead of paying grocery stores to feed everyone, what the fuck ever, however you want to look at it, you pay the farmer, you pay the grocer, okay, instead of doing that, we're bombing brown people overseas. Great. We are defending Israel. Yeah, so awesome. I love that. What a great system this is. We cannot feed people. Think about the 30 billion we have to send to Israel. Think about the 40 billion we have to send to Argentina, J-Star. You're not thinking about it logically.
They don't like
think about Israel. Think about Argentina.
Socialism. And so the whole sale of entitlements is just one big gigantic grift. Because obviously those of us advocating for a charity-based social safety net, or at the very least mutual aid-based social safety net.
No, you can't call it that. You can't call it that. It is not a social safety net. That's crazy. If it were, dude, I mean, actually, technically, I guess it is a social safety net. I guess. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you fall on hard times, you can go to the church sometimes when they do a food drive and you can get food. Okay? Yeah, sure. That's a social safety net. Fine. Except you're still going to end up hungry. Okay? Like, the church can't feed you all the time. They're not going to, because charity doesn't solve this problem. It's not enough. We already have a system of taxing people, of facilitating food distribution in the form of grocery stores, and we even already have a program that gives people the ability to only buy things at grocery stores, okay? We have special cards that people use at grocery stores. And you're saying, no, fuck all of that. Let's just leave it up to the churches. Let's do that. Yeah, man. Yeah. Brilliant idea.
Or even insurance-based social safety nets. Those of us advocating for these alternative systems are not actually against social safety nets. We're not saying let the poor starve. We're saying that involuntary forced welfare systems are inherently dysfunctional and lead.
Not only are they dysfunctional,
Inherently
on a level
dysfunctional.
Of, like, they're dysfunctional on a level of moral. Like, they're morally dysfunctional, and they're also bad for like the what's the word? They're bad for the morals of society, basically.
Right, yeah.
Morals and social cohesion.
Think about the morals.
Who basically believe that they deserve things for their mere existence, and that's a really bad thing to have in society.
The contradictory incentives, such as politicians designing a system to create permanent dependence instead of actually incentivizing people to get out of poverty.
It also creates another situation that's also really, really weird, is that they're able to legally bribe people by saying, if you vote for us, we will give you more shit, basically. They've created like a loophole where they're able to actually bribe people for votes.
And that's just the start of the problems. Because a lot of people out there, they might look at this and think, okay, well, it doesn't really matter because people need to eat. Food is a human need. So as long as...
it's bribery when a politician says, vote for me and I will fight to spend your tax dollars on things that actually benefit you instead of bailouts for Argentina and billions more to Israel. Yeah. What a fucking grift that is.
Am I
right?
of some sort. What does it matter if it's a public or a private social safety net. What does it matter if it's an involuntary system or a voluntary system, so long as people are getting food on their plates? And the answer is that when you have it be an involuntary system, a forced system, a rights-based system, you actually end up creating a lot of unintended consequences.
Yep.
And to prove my point, for the rest of this video, I'm going to go into what those consequences are. The first of
Nice.
these being that entitlement-based systems lead to the people, well, becoming entitled. You see,
yeah.
rather than being thankful for the food that they are receiving via a charity or a voluntary system, or being grateful to their community for having
This, in my opinion, is one of the biggest cancers in society right now. Is the sense of entitlement that people have. This is like society breakdown levels of cancer.
a mutual aid fund or something. When you have it be an entitlement system, since entitlements at their core are really just rooted in theft, rather than being thankful for what they're receiving for free, they instead view it as a civil rights victory, as a right that they fought for, and so they deserve this free stuff. And so when people go to use their EBT card,
Bro, Mantis.
aren't say in the United States again,
That's
rather than
crazy.
being grateful for living in a rich country that's able to provide them with this, it's instead viewed as a right, that they deserve this card, with a nice big middle finger to the people who are net payers into this system. And this mentality is a lot more common than you think. If you look up people just complaining about EBT benefits not going through this month, this mentality of gives me this now, you owe this
Yeah,
to
if
me,
you don't give it to me, we're gonna fuck shit up, basically, right? It's crazy.
seems to
So
unfortunately
crazy.
be more of the norm rather than the exception. And this is what I mean by what I said earlier, that entitlements pervert the concept of charity and turn it into something that is very hateful and spiteful, rather than the man receiving the potato from the man who created the potato.
Okay. So, what he's saying here, I'll break it down for you. I'm gonna reduce it a little bit. You know, you can call this reductive, whatever. I don't care. Okay. What he's saying here is, poor people be threatening. Evil poor people are threatening property destruction to get what they want, to get their SNAP benefits. Okay, because they're entitled. Because they're entitled little snowflakes. Let me remind you that all throughout human history, when a population is starved, okay, literally starved of food, guess what they do? Guess what they do? They burn shit. They burn shit down. They kill people. They kill the politicians, the representatives, the powers that be. They kill them. What? Remember, there was a revolution right after our own. Okay, it was called the French Revolution. Okay, the French did it. Why did they do it? They did it for many reasons, okay? But I think that probably the main one was that they were starving. Okay? And Marie Antoinette alleged, she didn't actually say this, okay, but it circulated at the time that she said, let them eat cake. Okay? And if I'm not mistaken, historians today, they think that never happened. She never said that. But the reason that people said that she said that is because they felt like the royalty, the aristocrats, they felt like they were out of touch because they were allowing their population to starve while they lived lavishly. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, all throughout history, you've had rich people telling the poor, you're entitled. You're entitled. Nobody gets a free lunch. Nobody gets a free lunch. You don't deserve it. Okay, and then when people start starving, the heads start rolling. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happens, man. And so it's not really a threat. It's more like a promise, okay? It is, because, like, this is what happens. Like, all throughout history, this is what has happened. People start starving, heads start rolling. That's what happens, man. Like, I don't make the rules. We don't make the rules. Leftists don't make the rules. Poor people don't make the rules. Actually, it's the opposite. The rich people make the rules. And this is the natural consequence of bad rules.
giving
that's
thanks to him
it.
for being kind to his fellow man. In an entitlement involuntary system like this, now it's more of a highway robbery. So instead, it's viewed as
It's
you
a
owe me this
highway
money.
robbery.
You owe me
It
this
is a
money
highway
because of this
robbery.
deed. And once you've given that kind of behavior the green
You are
light,
entitled.
create a really
You are
weird
entitled,
thing where
poor
it leads
people.
to this very obnoxious slippery slope where people start to think of everything as a right, because then it's less based on what people need and instead based more on equality. So, for example, a common one I've seen is that socialists have been trying to say that
God.
DoorDash should be a human right, because it's apparently not fair that it's only the people
Wait, what? Is that real?
who can afford the delivery of
Holy
DoorDash
shit, bro.
can have food delivered to them from their local finest restaurants. Oh no, that's not fair. Everybody should have that right. And I've seen a lot of liberals laugh and
So
criticize.
that's actually another problem disguised as something that it's not. Okay, and what I mean by that is the problem with what you were looking at there with the DoorDash thing is that people need food. Okay, right? But they can't buy it, and they can't go get it because they don't have a car. Okay. Oh well, you can walk. You can walk. Yeah, you can walk. Okay. It's just it really, really, really fucking sucks and is often extremely dangerous because we live in fucking America. We live in the United States of America where every business, every location, everything outside of an urban city is catered towards cars. And even cities are, relatively catery. Or they're not as... Okay, I meant the opposite. Like even cities cater to cars, to car-based infrastructure. They just don't do it as much as rural areas. But like my point is you need a fucking car to drive and go get food. Okay, you need it. And that sucks. It's shitty. Everything is already so unaffordable. You think that somebody without a car, you think that somebody that can't buy food and doesn't have a car can just go and buy food? Go and buy a car and then drive and then buy food? Like, no, you live in fairy tale land, man. So all that is to say, I think that the idea of supplementing DoorDash deliveries is quite silly. I think we need more robust transportation infrastructure in our cities, in our towns, right? We need to give people the means of getting around and going to restaurants or going to the grocery store when they don't have a car. That's it.
The commies for saying things like this as well. Because of course that's absolutely ridiculous. A service like DoorDash can't be a human right. I mean, what if nobody wants to do it anymore? Are we going to start forcing people at gunpoint to start doing deliveries or something? It's ridiculous. But what people don't realize is that is actually just the logical conclusion of what happens when you give in to the communists' first claim. When you've accepted that whatever they want or claim that they need is a human right, then
And this is a common problem, is that they'll have some kind of, like, they'll have some idea, some grand idea of, like, what society should be. But then when you take the things that they say and you take them, like, all the way, right? Like, where are the brakes on that, right? They'll be, oh, but they'll never get that far. It'll never get that far, but it could, right? It could get that far. And you take it all the way to its logical conclusion, it's always ridiculous.
What the fuck is she talking about, man? Yeah, the logical conclusion to this kind of policy is use the income tax pool to buy food from farmers, get it to grocery stores, and then give people the food. Okay, that is the logical conclusion to this issue in particular. Now, other problems in society, like transportation, like access to clean drinking water, like utilities, okay, access to electricity and gas for your appliances, okay, and of course finally housing. These are all separate things, and if you take them to their logical conclusion from the socialist perspective, guess what it ends in? It ends in the government supplementing the providers of these various necessities for life, and then they distribute it to people to use. That's it. That's the logical conclusion. And, if for whatever reason the government lost the ability to to do any of that, which I think is unlikely. Maybe I'm naive. I don't know. But that doesn't necessarily mean we jump to enslavement to keep it going. Okay, I don't think that that's going to be the next step. Like if the government did like state-sponsored DoorDash, which again I think is silly. Okay. If they did that, I think if it came to a point where the system couldn't work anymore, there weren't enough drivers. No, they're not going to start enslaving people. Okay, I guess maybe they could use prison labor to do it, but I don't know. Yeah, that would be ridiculous. Okay, but that's why the solution isn't in the instance of DoorDash. It's not to make DoorDash free. It's to give people the means of transporting their bodies to the grocery store, to a restaurant, or wherever they want to go. Like, that's it.
You're just going to keep asking for more and more quote-unquote rights that aren't actually rights at all. That is the problem that happens when you don't just reject the whole concept on principle. And so that's just another reason why there needs to be a very thick line between what is considered an entitlement and what is considered a right. Because if you don't, then eventually the commies are just going to say that everything should be their right. And then on the flip side, these mandatory welfare systems, in addition to making the receivers feel entitled, it also breeds resentment within net payers of the welfare for the people who don't want to be.
I mean, you want to talk about logical conclusions, right? Extremes. I think that in a perfect world, in a fantasy land, yeah, everybody should get whatever they want. Okay, literally anything. Like this is because of material reality. The idea of this being reality is, like insane. Okay, it's like laughable. Okay, like obviously, everyone can't have everything that they want. Okay, they just can't. For now, anyway. Maybe in the future. Maybe far in the future it would be possible. But I think by then, our species and society might, look like completely changed, like completely different, unrecognizable. But anyway, if you're like, if your argument is that like everyone having access to the things that they want is bad, if that's like a bad like logical extreme, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Like no, that would be epic. That would be a cool thing. Like, we should try to provide people the necessities first, okay, which we can. And then once we've done that, then we could even talk about providing non-necessities to people, like cosmetic surgeries, okay? That's probably not what I would start with. Me personally, I'd probably start with, like, computers. I'd be like, give everyone a 5090, give everyone, like, an epic gaming PC, okay? And we would all be gamers. Okay, but that's like J-Star. That's the way I want reality to go. But anyway, it's a dumb argument, okay?
But are forced to pay for it anyways. For instance, much of the rest of Vosh's video was him just going over various clips of people making fun of people on EBT and his audience lamenting about how all these people are demons and such selfish, greedy jerks. So just like there are people out there who think they deserve welfare and are acting entitled to it on camera, there are also people making fun of the people acting entitled in bad taste. But the thing that socialists don't realize here is that this is just another expected outcome of involuntary welfare. Because it's not charity, it's theft. Roughly 12% of Americans are on SNAP, so what the state is effectively doing is just stealing from the 88% of the population that is not on SNAP and giving it to the others.
Yep.
Now, when it comes to charity and actually voluntarily giving to people who are less
And the thing is it creates a lot of resentment too, because you have these people who are, struggling to feed their families and to maintain like whatever their quality of life is, and you see these really entitled people, being, and these are actual clips where you have a person that's like, oh, I bought all this shit using my Snap card, and then the person going like, oh, those are really, really nice nails. Yeah, I paid $80 for them. So it's like you got like $100 of free food, and then you instead use the money that you should have been spending on food and use it on like vanity projects for yourself, and it's really annoying to people that are actually like working to feed their families and maintain their quality of their standards of life. They get irritated because it's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm giving you money to like do your nails? What the fuck? That's not what I'm giving you money for. And like, obviously, like, it's fungible, right? So it's like the money that they spent on their nails, they could have spent on food instead. Leaflit, DMs.
Yeah. So the thing is, she's correct that does piss people off. Okay, it's just that they're stupid. Okay, people are fucking stupid because Your life doesn't suck because someone on EBT bought nails. Okay, they bought expensive nails. You're an idiot. Okay, I'm sorry. You are if you think that. Like look around you. Look around. Look at society. You think things suck because she got her nails done and she's on EBT? Are you fucking serious? Like, if you think she's the one robbing you blind, dude, we live in the richest nation on the planet. Rich people are out buying their 7th yacht. The fuck do you mean it's because Becky got her nails done? What the fuck are you talking about? Like no, man. She's not picking your pockets. Rich people are. They're picking your pockets. They get government handouts. Rich people get government handouts. Think about that. Think about that. They get government fucking handouts and they're rich. They get subsidies for their businesses. They get handouts, bro. And the average American gets dick. They get fucking nothing. Stupid. Stupid argument.
This is having massive impact. I went and got my eyebrows done the other day, and my eyebrow technician was like, they're going to fire 2 technicians from here because all of our clients don't have money to come.
Way to support local businesses. Leaflit. Like think about that. Like, she's right. People work at nail salons. People work at hair salons. People work at these places. And if Snap people on Snap, if they can't spend their money at these places because they're buying food, then people are going to lose their jobs. These companies are going to downsize. And that hurts the economy. That hurts average people. And you're like giggling over it. You're like sitting over there smiling. Like, do you not see how like hypocritical that is? Like, you want people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, to uplift themselves up out of poverty without the SNAP, without the EBT. But then when people lose their jobs as a direct consequence of, or maybe not direct, but as an indirect consequences of EBT getting cut, SNAP getting cut, you're like all it's so fucking dumb, dude. I just
hold up, chat. They just said that on main. Wait, they just said that on main? No, this is on CNN.
This is having massive impact. I went and got my eyebrows done the other day, and my eyebrow technician was like, they're going to fire 2 technicians from here because all of our clients don't have money to come. She got on.
And Leaflit is like, good, yes, I love that. That's actually awesome, actually.
How many of you guys are tired? Hey, who's tired in chat? Who's tired? Who's tired of paying taxes? Who's tired? Who's over it? Fuck taxes, am I right? I'm not a big fan of the government, man.
Well, that usually makes people feel good because they're voluntarily helping someone in need. But when someone's stealing from you, well, it's a completely different story.
They always show you like you don't care about the kids, and the kids aren't gonna get their cereal. Like, bro.
That's why you see all this resentment. And pretty much anybody can figure this out if you just think about it for a few minutes or so. Imagine if your neighbor living next door to you needs some food and you decide to voluntarily give him.
Why do they always sound like they got something stuck in their throat, man? He sounds all congested. He sounds terrible, man.
Versus imagine if the neighbor broke into your house and stole your money. I mean, you're obviously going to have a very different feeling about those 2 different scenarios.
Exactly.
And so that's why we're seeing so much negativity surrounding this subject. Anyways, the next problem is the welfare trap. Because one very interesting difference between private mutual aid funds and public welfare schemes is that mutual aid community-based things like this, they don't really have welfare schemes. You only see that in involuntary entitlement socialist schemes. And why is that? Well, first, for those of you who are not familiar with this problem, a welfare trap occurs when a person who is eligible to receive benefits suddenly becomes ineligible. And this leads them to a situation where they actually have access to less goods and services than before they lost eligibility. And this is generally due to the welfare system not having a way to phase someone out of.
Dude, man,
yeah,
really...
I mean that's true. That is a problem. Like what he's talking about is, sometimes when you begin to make more money, when you get a raise at your job, you lose access to welfare. You lose access to certain welfare services. Okay, you do. And so it's almost like you're actually getting a pay cut. Okay, you get a raise, but then you lose your SNAP benefits, you know, you lose whatever, you lose Medicaid. And so, or not Medicaid, but like ACA, you know, whatever it is in your state. You end up having to pay more money for all these goods and services. You know, it sucks. Okay, like, yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about, like, what we can do about that. There actually are ways of solving this, like maybe making certain goods free across the board for all income brackets, you know, like food, like water, like if it's free for everyone, and you don't lose that you don't lose that privilege, okay, or whatever, just because you get a raise at your job, then there you go. There you go. You just fucking fix the problem. Okay, boom.
I
What do
really
you
don't
know?
want to say it, but this seems like it's intentional. I mean, it's one or the other. One or the other. Either it's 100% intentional, or they're just terrible at design. They don't know what the fuck that they're doing. Which I guess that's believable for the government.
So, for example, say eligibility requires someone to earn.
No, it's because there is a conflict here between the agendas. Okay, Democrats, well, Democrats don't really want this, but leftists in America, they want everything to be free. Okay, they do. Not like literally everything, but they want like all of the necessities to be free. Food, housing, water. But the conservatives, they don't want this. They don't want this. The right-wing people don't want this. And so, because of the system we live in, we reach a compromise, okay? And that's why this happens, okay? If you don't want this to happen, then make it all free for everyone. Okay, that's it. That's it. Then it's not a problem anymore.
No more than $20,000
What do you
a year,
know?
and the welfare benefit is providing them with something that is worth $10,000 a year. Well, in that case, what's going to happen to this person if they get offered a raise at their job to make, say, $25,000 a year? Or say they have an opportunity to work more hours or find a better career path, but they can't find a job that gives them more value than the welfare
Yes, yes, miss, I live down here for real.
benefit
That's
they're
awesome.
receiving
That's awesome,
is
man.
giving them at the very least. Or what if they just feel that they can't get that kind of job? Well, the unfortunate answer is that this person will be incentivized to turn down the offer. To
Yeah,
earn
exactly.
more. They find themselves in this insane position where it's not worth the risk going for an opportunity for a better life.
Yeah, and I think that this is a huge fucking problem that we need to solve. Like this is ridiculous. That like you de-incentivize people from prospering in order to keep them in that thing. And again, like maybe it's pure chance. Maybe they're just stupid. They don't know how to design a system. Maybe they're just that dumb. It is the government after all. But part of me is kind of like, it seems like it's on purpose. You know, it seems like it's on purpose.
Life, which would normally just be completely irrational. But that's what welfare traps do. It's when people
Nothing in society is on accident. It never is, okay? It is designed, at least not in the current age, okay? Like our existence is manufactured. It's designed. Okay, that's it. That's it. Like you know, in practical terms, we have this society where we elect people and they vote on legislation. They pass legislation. That's how it works, okay? And they aren't like turning their brains off and going and voting. Like that's not how it works, okay? Nothing's a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. It's all on purpose. Of course it is.
Become incentivized
All the
to
good,
basically
all the
stay
bad.
poor and stay dependent on the system. And there's pretty good data suggesting that at the very least, there's about 10% of people on welfare systems who fall into this kind of trap. And that's a severe lowball estimate, because since it's incentive-based, it's actually very difficult to quantify that kind of data. The actual extent of this problem is almost unimaginable, especially when you look at welfare systems in the US and where they fall.
And to be honest, I don't really blame anybody that is on this specific that has this issue. I think it makes total sense. That like if you had to watch out for your family and they're like, yo, I'm gonna give you a raise, and you're like, yo, don't give me a raise because I'm gonna lose all my fucking thing. I'm gonna lose even more money if you give me a raise. It makes sense to me.
off. Like one study from Daniel Mitchell showing that someone who's earning
No shit.
$29,000, if they are stacking multiple welfare benefits, can actually be better off than somebody earning $69,000. That's a huge freaking cliff. But even if somebody's not on the maximum amount of welfare benefits, there's even smaller welfare cliffs that are still pretty substantial. Like if a person is on both Medicaid and SNAP for food benefits, and that person earns $29,000 or so.
See,
Well,
see, this is socialism's fault. This is all socialism's fault.
So you can see the
But it's really hard though to make that gap, right? Like the only really way to make that gap is to completely like.
So you can see the problem, right? You can see the problem that our capitalist system created in the first fucking place, okay? Like, yeah, man. I can see that. I can see how capitalism in combination with some socialist-leaning policies created this problem. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. My solution to that is not going to be less socialism, though. It's going to be more, okay? It's going to be more. Spoiler alert.
Like work at a different
That's what it
place.
is.
Self-study, and it's really, really difficult to make up that amount of a difference at one time.
problem is very pervasive and common, but the absolute weirdest thing about this problem is how obviously easy it would be to fix it. Anybody just using simple middle school 6th grade math can figure out that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. How is it not on purpose? How is it not on purpose? How do we have this Mihono bourbon problem? How do we have it?
All you would have to do would be to make it so that the welfare systems decay at a constant rate based on income, instead of people just suddenly losing eligibility at random points. Like, for example, if the welfare benefit, instead of vanishing at 20K, the benefit payout decayed at a rate of 10% of their earnings past 15K. Well, that would make it so that no matter what, they would be always better off earning more money.
I understand that. Like that, and, you know, that is another alternative solution to what I was saying. My preference would be that we give these essential things that people need to live, to continue existing. I think we should give them for free. I think we should give them away for free because we have the ability to. And that's it. Okay, like the government has the ability to do this, so I think that they should. Okay, but this is another alternative solution, right? That also works. Okay, he's talking about supplemental income. Okay, at the end of the day, EBT is just supplemental income. Okay, they're giving you money to spend on food, so you can use your other money to buy other things, like rent and bills. Maybe a car payment if you're lucky. So, yeah, I mean, the idea of, like, kind of tapering it off, right, instead of just cutting people off at a certain tax bracket, if instead you said, okay, well, since you're making $5,000 more this year, we're going to take away $5,000 from your benefits, I get that. That is also a solution that works, okay? But anyway, I would still prefer the former.
Like if everybody in the United States got $100 of UBI a month.
Mihono bourbon!
Figure out that all you would have to do would be to make it so that the welfare systems decay at a constant rate based on income, instead of people just suddenly losing eligibility at random points. Like, for example, if the welfare benefit, instead of vanishing at 20K, the benefit payout decayed at a rate of 10% of their earnings past 15K. Well, that would make it so that no matter what, they would be always better off earning more money. Like if everybody in the United States got $100 of UBI a month, and it decayed at, say, a penny for every dollar each person earns, well, that would make it so that at no point in time would a person be getting less money from their benefit in a way that they wouldn't be better off just earning more money at their actual work.
Yeah.
At no point in time would the
that
person be
as
in a position
well,
where
yeah.
they are incentivized to reject a better career opportunity or a better life.
Yep.
And yet, when we look at these entitlement-based welfare systems in the US, we see that some of these benefits often do decay a little bit, then they all completely cut off and people lose eligibility at again some random arbitrary point of income. Why? Are the politicians and bureaucrats in charge of this just dumb and don't understand basic math? Well, obviously, of course not. Of course
No, it's because they don't want to pay people more. Okay, what you're talking about would incentivize people in specific situations where they're on welfare. It would incentivize people to actually take that raise. Okay, and then the company would have to pay more money. Okay, that's it. That's why they don't want to do it. Dumb fuck. It's not because of, like, wokeness or whatever. It's not because of fucking leftist brain rot or whatever the fuck you're gonna say it is. I don't know. It's because of that. It's literally just that. They just don't want to pay them more.
they understand it. And they've
They're doing it on purpose, man. These people are so fucking evil, bro.
at
The
many
government
years
is
to fix
so
it, but they
evil.
keep it this way anyways. And again, why is that? Well, unfortunately, the reason is that it's most
The government
likely
is a
because
mirror.
when a politician in charge of a welfare program that is non-voluntary, well, what happens? How do they get funding for that? Well, again, they can just force people to pay for it. Because of course, the money for the benefit is not coming out of the politician's individual pocket. No, it's coming out of the pocket of the taxpayer, whether they like it or not. So the politician or the bureaucrat in charge of the program, they don't have to worry about personal loss to them. What they have to worry about is whether or not the program is
Oh my god. Whether or not the program continues to get the same amount of money, whether or not they get votes to stay in office. It's the legal bribe.
justified. And what's one simple way to do that? Well, to get as many people stuck in it as you possibly can. And so they design in these welfare cliffs in order to trap people into poverty, making them
is
dependent
so
on the state.
evil,
And so
bro.
thus they continually keep voting to keep that politician in power. And so in a very disgusting twist, the politician actually benefits from those people staying in poverty. And of course,
And this is always the case. They hurt the people they claim to care about.
No, you're wrong, and you're not just wrong because of like my alternative reality that I was just talking about. You know, like rich people just don't want to pay more. You're wrong because that doesn't make any fucking sense. Because poor people don't vote for Democrats. Okay, they don't. They don't. Okay, poor people are typically less educated. Okay, stay with me here. Less educated people vote for Republican. Okay, and I'm not like, that's not a dig at Republicans as much as it seems like one. Okay, it's just the reality. It just is. Okay, people that don't finish high school, people that don't go to college, these people vote for Republican. These people also like typically get lower paying jobs. Okay, so like what I'm saying is the richer you are, right? You are more likely to vote in your financial interest, but the poorer you are, the easier it is for you to get fooled by this meritocracy bullshit. So it works both ways, man. It does. Like the only demographic that I think is majorly skewed in the direction of the left is the poor educated, right? It is like poor students. Okay, people that go to college, that pay their own way, they get scholarships, they take out loans, and they graduate and they're still broke, okay? And then they're like, what the fuck? Okay, like that's it. That's why, like, people that pursue education, they go out of their way. They jump through all these hoops. They go through all these hurdles. They're more likely to be leftist. But with the exception of that, pretty much every demographic is like more skewed to the right. So, we're a right-wing country. We are. Anyway, what were they talking about? I forgot. I had a
voting to
point.
keep that politician in power. And so in a very disgusting twist, the politician actually benefits from those people staying in poverty. And of course,
And this is always the case. They hurt the people they claim to care about. They hurt them while standing on all of their suffering. They stand on top of it. They pat themselves on the back. They have like big rooms, big circle jerk rooms, patting themselves. Oh, good, great job. You're good. Wow, I did such a great job today. I'm such a good person. But they're actually so fucking bad. They're actually so fucking bad for the people that they actually claim to care about. It's ridiculous, man. It's every time. The people are always, I'm the nicest person. I care so much about the people who aren't well. They're always the worst. They're always the worst.
of course, the state can then use this to justify higher taxation on the people who are net payers already, because more people are in the system. More people are stuck below the welfare line. And so it just keeps ballooning
so
and getting bigger and
irritating,
bigger
man.
and bigger. And this is, of course, not the incentive with a voluntary system. Of course, the
Not
state can
bad.
then actual aid benefit, since you can't force people to be net payers. In order to keep the funds going, in order for it to be economically viable, you want people to get out of poverty as quickly as possible. And so mutual aid society benefits, they're usually either temporary or designed in such a way to lift people out of poverty, or they decay at a very specific rate, as opposed to intentionally trying to make people
Falcon, thank you for the bits. I live in a socialist country, and I can assure you that the only reason the government would do this is to keep its citizens under control. No government means no subsidies, no assistance, no healthcare, no pensions. You can't leave if you don't have enough money. And you can't make money easily. Man, I'm so sorry, Falcon. I hope you get out of that, man.
permanent dependence on the system. And this thus reveals another very big problem with the difference between entitlements and rights, and the consequences of confusing the two. Entitlements actually encourage people to do things that don't make any economic sense.
Falcon, I'd totally trade you for one of the commies here. I'd totally do it.
Another issue is that entitlements
Commie
create a
exchange
problem when it
program.
comes to immigration.
We should really do that. We should have a commie exchange program where we take people that like live in like communist areas and they hate communism, and we trade them one for one for people that want to like move to a communist country. Just exchange program. We should totally do it.
Normally with immigration, when you have a social safety net that is based on
For
freedom
people
of
that hate
association,
communism.
immigrants can't just come in and immediately claim benefits. And so the result of that is that you end up attracting better immigrants with higher education that are actually coming to the country with something to offer, rather than trying to get something out of it. And yet when you have a whole bunch of these involuntary welfare entitlement programs, then the opposite occurs. Then you end up attracting immigrants who are just coming for the gives. And
Yep.
this is actually a bigger problem than much of the data out there shows.
Wait,
Because
wait,
a lot
hold
of the
on, I
data
wanna
just
see
looks
this, I
at
wanna
it from the
see this graph, I wanna see
standpoint
this
of
graph.
how many immigrants are getting welfare
Hold on, I wanna
benefits.
see-
Because
I
a
wanna
lot of
see
the, and this is
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
it's actually a bigger problem than much of the data out
Wait. Okay. I've seen this graph before. This graph is misleading. Okay, because why is it misleading? Because you look at this graph and it looks like it's saying something that it isn't. Okay, like, let's go through it. Percentage of U.S. households receiving SNAP benefits. Afghan, 45%. Now, does this mean what? So what this sounds like, right, is 45% of SNAP benefit receivers are Afghani. Okay, no, that's so dumb. That's so stupid. It's actually 45% of Afghanis in America are on SNAP. That's what it means. Okay, if it meant the former, right, then all of these percentages together would add up to 100. But obviously, if you do the math, all these numbers add up to a lot more than 100. Okay, and that's because what it's actually saying is, 42% of Somalis in America are on SNAP. Now, with that in mind, you can see how misleading this graph is, because 42 million Americans are on SNAP. So if you think that 45% of them are Afghani, then it's like, holy shit, like almost 100 million Afghanis are on SNAP. That's crazy. And yeah, that is crazy. Literally. Okay, it's delusional. No, how many Afghanis are in America again? I forgot the actual number. It's like a a few thousand, I think. It's like, hold on. Let me pull up the actual number. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It was around 200,000. So there's anywhere between 166,000 and 219,000 Afghan Americans living in the United States. Now, that is a pretty high population but it's still not that many people though. Okay, that means we're talking only like 80,000, right? Anywhere between 80 and 110,000 Afghanis are on SNAP, okay, which is like 1% of if you were to assume it's the most, right? The highest number, it would be like 1% of SNAP benefits, right? Or no, not even. It would be like holy shit, what the fuck am I thinking? No, it'd be like 0.25%, I think. Yeah. Yeah, or no, actually, it'd be even less than that, right? No, I think it'd be like 0.25%, yeah. Yeah, so it's just like, it's barely anything. Like, these immigrants are barely taking up any of the SNAP benefits, and yet this graph, I've seen it circulating a lot, and people are like, wow, look at all these fucking Afghanis on the SNAP program, and it's like, dude, 45% of 4 people is like 1.8 people or whatever. It's like, if we're like, imagine it's like 100 people. Okay, so that means that like 45 Afghanis are like that. What I'm saying is that this number could be anything. Okay, it could be anything. Like, it's not a big number. It seems like a big number, but it's not big number. Because because if like it was 45% of 100 people, it'd be 45 people. My point is there aren't that many Afghanis in America, and the reason that it's as high as it is in the first place is because we bombed the fuck out of them for 20 years. Or more, depending on how you look at it. Alright, anyway. Back to this.
Man, that's crazy.
I wonder if they will clarify everything that I just said. I wonder if they will actually talk about this graph honestly, or if they will instead use it to push their agenda.
It's
Let's
actually
find
a
out.
bigger problem than much of the data out there shows. Because a lot of the data just looks at it from the standpoint of how many immigrants are getting welfare benefits and how many citizens are getting welfare benefits. Well, that doesn't account for one very obvious and actually quite common scenario, which is that when two poor immigrant parents come in, have an anchor baby, and then funnel a bunch of welfare benefits through their baby. Because in that scenario, the benefit is technically being provided to a U.S. citizen, but because these benefits take an entire household into account, you could actually end up with a situation where it's mostly immigrants that are receiving the actual benefit.
That's
And these studies that
Oh my
look at
god. Oh my fucking god, dude. It's just
welfare
so
use by
fucking
household
brain
status, like this
dead.
one from the
This is
Center
what I
for
mean. They'll use this.
They're taking it. They're taking it. Look at the graph. Look at the graph. They're taking. What he is describing is called delusion. What he is doing is called vivid delusion. Okay, this is an insane racist stereotype, and it doesn't fucking happen. It is not a prolific event in American society. It just isn't. This doesn't fucking happen. Stop fucking saying it. It's so goddamn brain dead. If you don't believe me, look at the numbers. Look at that graph. Like literally the graph that they showed for a split second to push their narrative, because it like looks the way that they want it to. If you actually read the data, it fucking disproves their argument. It shatters it. Like, no. Nobody is taking advantage of fucking Snap. Snap just gives people food, you dumb fuck. You fucking piece of shit. People have to eat. They have to, or they die. That's how it works. You fucking scum
They'll
fuck.
say, what do you mean? There's no illegal people getting any benefits. It's not legal for that to happen. And they'll say stupid shit like that, but then they don't actually look into like the cases of abuse, loopholes in the system. They don't count any of that shit. But legal, you can't do it. That's what they always say.
immigration studies quite consistently show that immigrants are indeed using a
Even if they were right, even if illegal immigrants were abusing the welfare system, okay, look, I don't give a fuck. Let them eat. You know what I do give a fuck about? I care about record-breaking profits, quarter after quarter. Every year the same. And yet wages are stagnant. Homes are unaffordable. People can't pay their bills. Repos are up. People are getting fucking repoed more. That's what I care about. Okay, yeah, immigrants abusing the system is technically a problem. Okay, if it is happening. If it is even happening at all. Okay, but my point is it is a minuscule problem compared to what rich people are taking out of our pockets. Okay, it's not fucking immigrants stealing your money, it's the rich. It's the pedophile elite. The pedophilic corporate elite are buying children and enslaving them as sex slaves, and they're also robbing us blind at the same time. And all of this shit is starting to come out. And you have these dumb fuck YouTubers that are trying to do it. They're trying to hit the propaganda just like in the days of old. Just like the Sargon of Akkad, just like the Sands Times or whatever the fuck that guy, whoever that was, I forgot his fucking name, dumb fuck, okay? Just like ER, just like all of these idiotic fucking old anti-SJW YouTubers that fucking blow dick and don't have any relevancy anymore. They all fucking fell off because people figured out that they're stinky. But people are going to figure out that you're stinky a lot fucking faster because the sky is falling. Societal cohesion is collapsing. and you are still defending the old ways. And it's not a good game plan, bro. It's not good. I mean, look, you can say what you will about like the left-wing grift, okay? The left-wing grift. Okay, it's not really a grift because it doesn't make any fucking money, okay? It's not that profitable for me to be a left-wing streamer, left-wing YouTuber, commentator, whatever the fuck, okay? But like, at least there will probably still be a space for me in the future when it comes to talking about this stuff. For you, you know, your ideology is it's dust in the wind. Bye bye. Like, I'm sorry, man, but like, the more Epstein shit that comes out, the more like class consciousness events occur, the faster the clock is ticking for you, bro. Like, you're like, it's not gonna keep working. Good job for trying, I guess.
A lot of welfare. Like in New York, something around 70 to 68% of immigrant households are using some kind of welfare system. That is an insane number, especially when you consider again that the problem is likely worse than what's suggested because a lot of these numbers are kind of kept low by certain systems. Like, for example, technically illegal immigrants aren't supposed to be on various welfare benefits, but in some states, like the state I live in Oregon, they don't really do their due diligence.
I'm sorry, man.
They don't really do their due diligence? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? How do you know that? Do you work there? Are they your coworkers? You know that? You know that for a fact? Really? Really? Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, there's all these illegals on the system. There's not. There just fucking isn't. Like, they keep trying to say this over and over again. No, it's real. It's real. You just can't see it. You just can't see it, but it's there. It's happening. It's the same, like, look. I haven't said this yet today, okay? But I'm about to hit the classic leftist button, okay? This is Nazi shit. That's what this is. That's what it is, man. This is classic, straight up, this is classic Nazi shit. Oh, the evil foreigners, they're taking stuff. They're taking it. They're taking it and they're not giving back. Where's the proof? It's happening. You just can't see it. You just can't see it. It's just not visible. But it's happening. It is. No, man. Foreigners are not stealing your lunch. They're not. Okay? Rich people are stealing your lunch. That's what's happening.
I'm so sorry, bro. I hope that
Fucking Nazi.
I hope you become an Idahoan soon. That'd be pretty cool.
Sure people are applying for things like SNAP actually are who they say they are. And so naturally, if you don't actually have to prove that you are legally entitled to a benefit, people can just lie on their application and get the benefit anyway. That's the main reason why it's ridiculous to claim that there aren't any illegal immigrants on the welfare system. Because there obviously are, you just have to dig beyond the official paperwork. And this all crap.
You just have to dig beyond. Okay. All right, do that. Let's see it. Like, I don't care if it's official paperwork, if it's private investigation. Show me the evidence. Show me the money. Show me that they're getting it. Let me see. Okay, again, if illegals are stealing SNAP, if they are taking SNAP benefits, even though they're illegal, I don't really fucking care. Because, yeah, that sucks, okay? They shouldn't be able to do that, okay? It's against the law, okay? But, like, it's just not... like, even if it's as bad as you're saying it is, which I don't think it is, but even if it's as bad as you're saying it is, it doesn't even hold a fucking candle to what rich people are stealing from you, from me, from everyone. Record-breaking profits every quarter, every year at all these mega corporations. But, sorry, your healthcare premiums have gotta be $10,000 a year, $20,000 a year. They gotta. There's nothing we can do. Sorry. Yeah, man. But it's immigrants that are the problem.
Ashes
Yeah.
into another big problem, which is the
Right,
voter catalog.
right.
Yup, and here-
It's immigrants getting food, most of which we throw out anyway. That's the real problem.
These people
Yeah,
who are
man.
being trapped
Here it is, the legal bribe, the loophole here, where they're able to actually bribe people to vote for them.
into this welfare system of entitlement. Well, what are they going to vote for? Well, of course, they're just going to keep voting for more free stuff because they don't really understand.
This is what they've been saying for forever. Okay. Oh yeah, poor people just want free stuff. The poor people are getting bribed. They just vote for those Democrats because they want free stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's called class interest, right? It's called like voting in your own interest. Okay, rich people vote for conservatives, and we don't. You don't hear a lot of leftists be like, "Oh, you're doing that because you want handouts." Like, even though that is unironically what's going on. Yes, poor people, they be voting for handouts. Rich people also be voting for handouts. That's what voting for Republican does. Okay, when you vote for Republicans, you vote for tax cuts for the rich. So when rich people vote for Republicans, are they being bribed? Are they being bribed? I mean, I don't know. Sorta. So when poor people vote Democrat, are they being bribed? Same thing. Sorta. Kinda. Okay, but don't act like it's not a both sides thing. It is. It is. I will both sides this shit all the fucking way. What? Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
And the problem that
This
there
is
is.
the
The result
tyranny,
being that the country
the
is
tyranny of democracy right here.
eventually flooded with people who are net receivers rather than net payers, which is the biggest problem with entitlement programs, which is that they're
Change
not
voting.
sustainable because they actively incentivize people to not produce more wealth. Then financial collapse of the
Change voting to only producers and only producers and households. This is dumb. This is so dumb.
system becomes a question of when rather than if. And so ultimately our politicians have been incentivized to create this slow march toward socialism. And this of course creates the biggest contradiction of them all. How can food
There should be a list of things that you can do to get a vote. It should be like kind of like Starship Troopers, to be honest. If you serve in the military, you get a vote. If you have like a household and you have kids, then if you have a married couple and you produce children and you take care of those children, you get a vote. If you do some kind of like you create like a business or something like that is actually like generating taxes, then you get a vote. So things like that. Basically, some skin in the game before you get a vote, I think.
be a human right if food is no longer being produced? You have to make the food in order to eat the food. It's an obvious conundrum when you
You know Starship Troopers was satire? I'm not satiring them. I'm just telling the truth.
Dude, we all contribute. If you are an employee, you contribute to the economy. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, you want to talk about logical conclusions? You want to know what the logical conclusion to this is? Only white landowners are real contributors to society. Only they can vote. The fuck? What kind of undemocratic shit is this? I thought you guys were the Liberty Party. We're the spread democracy party. Now you're the anti-authoritarian government party. Now you're all about like limiting people's ability to fucking vote. Why? You don't see how that's kind of antithetical to your whole thing?
Crimbo. I'm just telling the truth. I know it's satire, but I think that part I like that part, honestly. I think that part's good because of this reason. Because of this reason, where you can legally bribe people for their own benefit to steal from other people. It's ridiculous.
think about it, but because it's all trapped up in multiple layers of bureaucracies and different welfare systems, people often just completely forget this obvious fact. When the people who want the potato but don't want to do the work to create the potato are allowed to steal from the people who did create the potato, well then eventually you're just going to incentivize society where nobody wants to make potatoes, period. Because that's really what makes the difference of an entitlement. The problem with entitlements and privileges is that they require the labor of somebody else in order to give you what you want. And that's just another reason why if somebody has to fulfill the desire for you, it can never really be considered a right. It's not just because of the contradiction that creates in that it must necessarily...
Basically, my concern is I think that people should have skin in the game in order to vote whatever we determine that to be. I think the idea that like you get a vote for existing like doesn't make any sense to me.
infringe on somebody else's rights if you're basically allowing them to be stolen from.
You don't get a vote for existing. You get a vote for being a citizen. For being a citizen of the United States, which means you have to be born in the country, or that's how it used to be. Okay, not anymore. Or you have to be, like now, you have to be born to or at least one American citizen parent. Okay, that's how it works. That's how it works. So it's not just existing. No. No. You have to be an American citizen to vote. That's how it works.
It also just
Okay,
has the problem where
stupid.
it eventually creates a society
Like we don't. Yeah.
where
Anyway.
nobody wants to be the producers, because why become a
Like,
producer?
we don't
in
really-
society
we don't
where
really-
you just
anyway,
take-
anyway.
And we as society, especially those of us in Western society where
Dumb
this is going
fuck.
on, really need to figure a way out of this fast. Because as the current system is going, the
I think it's
national
over,
debt
bros.
just keeps getting bigger.
I think it's over, bros. I'm kind of a doomer when it comes to this topic. I think it's just kind of, I don't know what you possibly could do. Like, I think it's already reached like critical mass basically, and there's too many people that are voting to get free shit that it's kind of cooked, honestly.
Likely to reach 40 trillion soon, and people keep voting for more Gibbs and more problems that cause the debt to balloon. And so while in the short run, yes, it does suck that some people are not getting their food, we really need to ask how we got here and why there aren't enough mutual aid practices in place. And the answer is because people become too dependent on the government. We really need to acknowledge the fact that the current system is very flawed and designed to create dependence. Even if you don't agree with
Please do not feed the birds. Feeding creates a dependent population that is potential health hazard and makes a costly mess. How come the state parks know this? Why do they know this? They obviously know what they're talking about.
the idea that welfare should be privatized, it is at the very least in need of serious reform. A few compromises I've seen that have been floated are things like changing the welfare system into a greater negative income tax bracket, effectively creating UBI for the poor that decays at the income tax rate, or simply recognizing that the politicians in charge of
Walla, thank you so much for the bits, by the way. There's one specific issue with only providers being able to vote. Businesses can fire people strategically to change who can vote before voting day. No. I don't mean like I don't mean like the workers, the individual workers. Walla. I mean just
Yeah, the
business owners.
capitalist. Yeah.
Basically
Yeah.
like a business owner, maybe like military. The thing with like a household gets like one vote total.
Yeah, dude.
I think
Genius,
like
genius.
That would be good. Or you could even like there's a lot of solutions for this. Like obviously they all have their own pluses and minuses. Like you could go with like you're a zero burden taxpayer. You could use that for example as a I don't know how you would calculate that. Obviously we'd have to like completely change the way we figure out. We'd have to completely change the way that we like we keep records of like how much money people are making, stuff like that, which they already do anyway with taxes. But we'd have to be like kind of more specific with it. Things like that, basically. There would have to be like some number that they come to, like this is the amount of money that you pay into taxes, and this is the amount of money that the average person takes away from taxes, and then you would have to like find a number there.
the current welfare system are corrupt and have intentionally created a very messed up system designed to keep themselves in power at the expense of both the taxpayers and the poor who are trapped in eternal poverty. And unless people become aware of that, then
Crimbo says, I think only billionaires should have votes. They are worth more than regular humans. I think you're joking. Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say billionaires. Well, I didn't say billionaires. I didn't say that. That's not my argument. I don't know if that was to me or something, but I think it is sarcasm. I don't know if that's to me, but that's strawmanning my point, Crimbo.
the welfare trap is just going to keep existing. Other fixes also include just improving the medical industry by removing regulatory barriers.
And even if you wanted to say I was wrong, even if you wanted to say that I was wrong and that there's a better solution for it, you would still have to concede that the current status quo of how it's set up is actually creating a lot of bad incentives. And again, like there's actual proof of this, like by just looking online. Basically, you can see the people abusing the system, the people that are super entitled due to the system. You can see that it's creating a bad result. And my primary interest is in fixing it. So if you have a better solution, for
that's the real problem with society is I'm not gonna keep saying it. Okay, it's just they're rehashing the same shit. It's so fucking dumb, and they've been saying this shit for decades. Okay, this is where welfare queens comes from. Okay, don't never forget that was a Reagan ploy. Okay, Reagan came up with the term welfare queens. Okay, it's the idea that there are people who are abusing the system or like getting more than they deserve, getting more food than they deserve. Okay, that's what it is, and it's just so fucking brain dead.
to fix it, I'm all yours.
So
I'm all
dumb.
yours, but I haven't heard one basically.
Barriers that cause increased costs, thus reducing the price of medical care, which would have the second order effect of helping those stuck in the Medicaid welfare trap. There's just so much more that could be done, even if not perfect, would at the very least make things better. But unfortunately, neither Republicans or Democrats seem interested. And honestly, as long as
Fuck both of them. Am I right, chat? Fuck both of them.
people remain unaware of the problems caused by entitlements,
Totally
politicians
agree.
really have no
I
incentive
totally
to
agree.
stop
This isn't even a partisan thing. I think both of them are retarded in this case.
scamming us. Anyways, that is all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.
What do you mean? No, the Republicans are doing what you want. They're cutting benefits. Like what more do you want from them? Did they not cut enough? You wanted them to take more? Like, I don't know, man. What do you want from them? They're like, these are your guys, okay? They're doing the things that you want. Am I crazy? Am I like missing something here? What? How is it both? Like you have one party that claims to want to do welfare. Okay, and they're just failing at it. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry, we're really dropping the ball on this one. Okay. And then you have the other party that is against it, just like you are, and you support them, and they're doing it. So how are you both siding this shit? I don't understand.
Or again by buying some merch, which the taxation is
Huh?
on sale. Thanks again for watching. That is all.
All right. Another. I still need to watch this one. This was this refuting Brexit.
I guess she's saying because like Trump said, he was gonna do Medicare for all. He was gonna do like Trump care or whatever. I have concepts of a plan. I guess that's like too woke for her. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna pause the stream real quick.